Another World Series moment from 1975.
Delivery to Fisk. He swings, long drive, left field. If it stays fair, it's gone. Home run! The Red Sox win, and the series is tied 3 games apiece.
A great call by a great broadcaster, Ned Martin, with Carlton Fisk's 12th inning home run in Game 6 of the '75 World Series. It gave the Red Sox the win and forced to Game 7. Game 7 that year, of course, won by Cincinnati. One young man who undoubtedly was devastated as he was growing up in suburban Boston at that time. About the result of that game, the new pitcher on the mound for the Atlanta Braves, Burlington, Massachusetts native Pete Smith.
Pete's 7-0 for the Braves this year. And that's in the National League Championship Series. He did work 2 games against the Pirates. This is his first World Series appearance.
Following 4 innings by Steve Avery. Roberto Alomar out in the bounding ball to second. He's 1 for 3. If you're just joining us, Toronto leads 2-1 after 4 innings. They scored in the first. Devon White started the ball game with a single, stole second, took third in a ground out, scored on a sacrifice fly by Joe Carter. Atlanta tied it up. Deion Sanders a double. He stole third, scored on a Terry Pendleton sacrifice fly. Then Candy Maldonado put Toronto back on top with a leadoff home run off Avery in the 4th. Interesting that Avery was yanked after 4 innings. The pitcher is scheduled to bat second when the Braves come up in the bottom of this, the 5th inning.
I think Bobby Cox, with everybody available for the most part, all of his pitchers.
That is a fair ball. Top spin line drive down the left field line for Joe Carter. Sanders juggled it once on the bullpen mound, and it didn't matter. It was going to be a double all the way for Carter. His first hit of the night and 5th of the series.
A breaking ball to Carter that he hammers down the left field line, just fair. May have hit the line. Nope, just fair. About 4 inches. But I think Bobby Cox's thinking on this was to just get Pete Smith through this inning and then go to another reliever in the 6th inning. The whole staff is available tonight with the exception of Tommy Glavine, possibly John Smoltz. Possibly.
Smith brought in particularly with Carter and Winfield, the big right-handed guns in mind. Carter got to him for the double. Now here's Winfield, who walked and flied to right against Avery. Blue Jays already with 7 hits. Winfield looked at a Smith fastball for strike 1. Of course, much of the reason for the low batting average for Dave Winfield in the World Series came in his only World Series prior to this year. 1 for 22 was Winfield in the Fall Classic of 1981. Well, a whole heck of a lot better this year. He's 4 for 18 now. And 1 for his last 11. Because of that 1 for 7, it's just a 2-1 lead for Toronto. They could be much more comfortably ahead at the moment.
Well, Deion Sanders has had a lot to say about this game so far. The assist, throwing out Pat Borders at the plate, and he doubled, stole a base, and scored the only run of the game for the Braves.
The 2-1 to Winfield. Dropped by Berryhill. It's a ball, 3-1. It was a close pitch, but when the catcher doesn't squeeze it, that reduces the likelihood you're going to get a strike call.
Right.
You can see Berryhill with his head twisted around. Talk with home plate umpire John Shulock about it. Smith has thrown a couple of pitches to Winfield in this sequence when the second baseman Lemke was just about standing on second base, trying to keep Carter close. That time he stepped off as Lemke moved to the bag. Full count now.
There was another time right there. Mark Lemke going over. Joe Carter taking his lead, and the whole right side was open. Dave Winfield hits a lot of balls to the right side, too.
Now the payoff pitch. Fouled. Winfield just got a piece of that one off the end of the bat. Three balls and 2 strikes, 1 out. Carter the runner at second. We're in the top of the 5th. The Blue Jays lead 2-1. If Toronto wins tonight, they are baseball's world champions in 1992. Carter taking off for third as Winfield sends it right back here.
That got you up, didn't it?
It did indeed. I was ready for it, though. That was a harmless fly. I usually said when it didn't clang off my hand.
Yeah, it was harmless because it went above us, not in rattling around in the booth here.
We had Buzz Hannon ready to make the play. Happy birthday to Buzz, by the way.
Those are the buzzwords today. Happy birthday.
The payoff pitch again, lined into left center on the run. Nixon made the catch. Carter a long way toward third, but he'll get back. Nixon had to take a couple of steps to get his balance back after having the long run to make the nice running catch in the gap when that appeared to be ticketed for Dave Winfield's first ever World Series extra base hit.
We have had a chance to see 2 center fielders who are among the best in baseball. Otis Nixon covering a lot of ground to make that catch. Nixon, by the way, led all major league outfielders with averaging 3 putouts a game. Gives you an idea of how the Atlanta pitchers pitch also. A lot of fly ball pitchers. A lot of guys who throw high fastballs, and it's very difficult to put the ball in play on the ground against the Atlanta staff.
Very difficult to catch the ball. Candy Maldonado hit his last time up. It was back into the bleachers in left field. And it was the difference in the ball game. At the moment it is. Leadoff home run by Maldonado in the 4th. Broke a 1-1 tie. Made it 2-1 Toronto. It's still 2-1. With Maldonado at the plate in the 5th. Carter at second and 2 down. Slowly to short. Blauser throws him out, and Pete Smith survives the 5th unscathed. The Braves dodge another bullet. Halfway through game 6. Toronto 2, Atlanta 1.
Labatt presents the World Series on CTV. Sponsored by Honda, the official car of the Toronto Blue Jays for the past 16 years.
The new Civic Hatchback SI. Captured on high-speed film. But it got away.
Under Siege. Hold on to your seats. This is the best action movie this year. Seagal explodes on screen as the new king of action. Steven Seagal, Under Siege. Now playing at a theater near you.
When you're busy being a mom and chauffeur, the last thing you're thinking about is your brakes, right? But if something told you they weren't right, would you know where to go? You don't want to trust them to just anybody, so you go to Midas.
day with all systems A-OK.
This control, what's that noise?
This is control. That was Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Say again?
Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
What's in it?
That's 2 scoops of plump, juicy raisins and whole grain flakes with bran.
They were all set to go, but he just had to know.
How many scoops?
2. 2 scoops of raisins in a package of Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Stop the engines.
Where's that Kellogg's Raisin Bran?
Steve Avery was removed from the game after pitching 4 innings, and part of the reason might have been that in the first inning he had like a little splinter underneath that thumbnail that was bothering him, and I think it particularly affected the grip of his curveball because he didn't have as good a command of that tonight. So I think it was a reason of that, although he told Bobby Cox after the first inning it was okay, but that plus the Blue Jays right-hand hitters forced Bobby Cox to make that move a little sooner than he normally would.
And he'll pinch hit for Pete Smith in all likelihood here in the 5th. Mark Lemke fouled the first pitch of the 5th inning away for strike 1. Lemke out on a fly ball to center field his first time up. Pete Smith is in the on-deck circle at the moment, but during the break between innings we saw Lonnie Smith with a bat in his hand. Otis Nixon will bat 3rd here in the 5th inning. The Blue Jays lead 2-1. They've out-hit Atlanta 7-3.
Bobby Cox is thinking about a pinch hitter. I don't think he'll use Lonnie Smith here in the 5th unless Lemke's on base. With 1 out, nobody on, I don't think you want your best pinch hitter hitting in that situation.
2 balls and a strike on Lemke. There is action in the Atlanta bullpen. Charlie Leibrandt is warming up, so if they do hit for Pete Smith, Leibrandt will be the Atlanta pitcher when we go to the 6th inning. Couple haven't been close from Cone. 3 balls and a strike. David Cone pitched only 8 games for the Blue Jays during the regular season. His 3-1 pitch is ball 4. Well, now because it's a bunting situation, they're not going to hit for Pete Smith. Lemke at first. That's just the 2nd walk issued by Cone tonight. And here is Pete Smith. Pete Smith is not a good hitter. He is 1 for 26 during the regular season. He's sacrificed 3 times. Gruber is almost on top of him. Smith took a fastball for a strike.
You want to bunt the ball to Joe Carter. Joe Carter is not adept at playing first base. He has a strong throwing arm, but he's not a regular first baseman. So if you bunt the ball, you want to bunt it to first. Plus, Kelly Gruber, the 3rd baseman, is about 40 feet away.
Gruber already creeping in as Smith takes a ball low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. The appeal down to first. It was not an attempt at a bunt by Smith. Jimmy Williams, the 3rd base coach, threw the signs for both Lemke and Smith. Bunted foul. Now it's 1-2. Tim, might Bobby Cox be guilty of trying to get a little bit too much out of Pete Smith? You mentioned the rested pitching staff. Now you're in a situation where if he fails to bunt, he has to go up there and hit. Where if a Treadway failed to get the job done with the bunt, he'd be at least more likely to deliver a hit.
Yeah, he has 2 ways to go. He elected to go with Smith, and it is a problem with the count 1-2. You are wasting an out. The one thing you want to do is keep in mind is if Lemke, as the runner at first base, Joe Carter, if he breaks too soon, try to steal second base.
Lemke has no stolen bases this year, regular season or postseason.
See, that's why Cone threw over there then. That throw to first base is to hold the runner. But Joe Carter, we mentioned, not a lot of experience at first base. If he breaks too soon, you go as far as he does. And by the time Cone releases the ball, you could possibly steal a base.
Smith turns to bunt with 2 strikes and fouled it off. He's out. So that's a strikeout. The first out of the inning. And the bullpen is silent, so Pete Smith will go back out to pitch in the 6th inning. Bobby Cox had other options available to him. Decided, because it was a bunt situation with Lemke the lead man on, to let Smith bunt him over, but he couldn't get the job done. Now the runner is at first with 1 out for Otis Nixon, who has twice bounced to short.
Well, there's some things in baseball that are blatantly wrong. I can't see where that's blatantly wrong one way or the other. It's up to Pete Smith to get the bunt down. You gotta execute.
Nixon slaps it foul.
I think going one way or the other, it doesn't matter whether in that situation, I don't think, whether you bunt or not. I mean, Pete Smith, a very capable pitcher, strong toward the end of the season. I think the decision was wrong, but the decision was right. The execution was wrong.
The 0-1 to Nixon. Just missed. The Blue Jays lead 2-1. The Braves batting in the bottom of the 5th. This is game 6 of the 1992 World Series. The Blue Jays win tonight. They are the world champions. The Braves win. Game 7 is tomorrow night here at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Quick throw. Lemke just back ahead of the tag from Carter. Popped up along the line. Lee drifts over and makes the catch. They say he was in fair territory. That's the 2nd out of the inning. The Goodyear blimp Stars and Stripes is high overhead tonight. Stars and Stripes is the most recent addition to the fleet, continuing a tradition since 1926. Sean McDonough with Tim McCarver, Jim Cott, and Pat O'Brien. Delighted to have you with us from Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Lemke, the runner at first with 2 outs, and Deion Sanders is at the plate. Certainly playing Sanders to pull in the infield. Roberto Alomar, the second baseman, can almost shake hands with Joe Carter, and he's on the edge of the outfield grass.
Braves with their first 2 hitters, it's very, very difficult to defense. Otis Nixon and Deion Sanders, they spray the ball around. But obviously, the scouting reports have shown that he pulls the ball on the ground.
Deion has done that twice tonight, once for an out to the first baseman, the other for a double off the glove of Joe Carter that continued down the right field line. Cone ahead of Sanders 0-2. He's thrown 71 pitches tonight, and a bit better ratio balls for strikes tonight than for David in game 2 of the World Series, when he threw 46 balls and 47 strikes. Of course, he walked 5 in that outing over 4 1/3 innings.
David Cone had a start this year with the New York Mets where he threw 166 pitches. His next start, he threw 133. 300 pitches, right about 300 pitches in 2 starts, leading the major leagues in strikeouts for the 3rd consecutive year.
He's ahead of Sanders 1-2. Lemke is not on the run. Dion slaps it back to the screen. We mentioned that Cone only started 8 games for the Blue Jays during the regular season. If he is the winning pitcher tonight, he would become the first pitcher ever to win the final game of a World Series for a team for which he had pitched fewer than 10 regular season games. Rent-a-pitcher indeed. David has called himself the rent-a-pitcher, the hired gun. Up the middle, a hit. Lemke will continue on toward third and get there without a throw. Deion Sanders continues to be a major player in the 1992 World Series. He's 2 for 3 tonight. Now 9 for 14 lifetime against David Cone.
This is only his 4th start, and he's been on base 10 times. This ball right back under the glove of David Cone, and we mentioned that Alomar, the top of your screen there, playing him to pull. Lemke moving to third easily.
That sign is true. They can't get Dion out. 2 for 3 tonight is Dion. He's 8 for 15 in the World Series. He's at first. Lemke at third with 2 down in the home half of the 5th. The Blue Jays lead 2-1.
The one thing that was important on that play, Mark Lemke going to third base, that clears second and gives Sanders a chance to steal a base. He already has 1 stolen base. Usually better not to try to go to third with 2 outs unless you're sure, but it was a big play possibly in this situation.
Pendleton took the ball low and in. Harry's working on a perfect night. He singled in the 1st inning. Delivered a sacrifice fly in the 3rd that brought in Sanders with the only Atlanta run of this game. Time called. Borders and Cone will be joined at the mound by pitching coach Galen Cisco. And there is action for the first time tonight in the Jays bullpen. Todd Stottlemyre is the right-hander. David Wells the lefty. Gaston, at some point tonight, you might have noticed a Band-Aid on his finger. We saw the Band-Aid on Avery's thumb. Gaston, along with all of the players, coaches, and managers on each side, has had to sign 100 dozen baseballs over the course of this World Series. He said he wanted to sign as many as he could tonight because he doesn't plan on being back here tomorrow night to sign any more. The best in the majors this year with runners in scoring position. He's up there with a runner at third and 1 at first as well. 2 outs in the 5th. 2-1 Toronto. The 1-0 pitch is a strike. They're Coneheads, but they waved in disgust at that call. I would think that the Coneheads would be cheering for David Cone, but they seemed upset that it was called a strike. Sanders takes off. The pitch is a ball, and Dion has another stolen base. His 2nd tonight, his 5th in as many tries in the World Series.
That is the 3rd stolen base of the night for the Braves. Make that the 2nd stolen base, both by Deion Sanders. That gives the Braves 15 in the World Series. They've only been caught 2 times.
So now 2 men in scoring position. The tying run at third. The go-ahead run at second. The 2-1 pitch. Check swing and a ball low and in. On the appeal to third. Joe West deemed that it was not a swing. Still 3-1.
Did he go around? No, not even close.
Many of the fans here now on their feet. As Pendleton bounces one foul past Pat Corrales in the first base coach's box, it's a full count.
Like a slider. I think the Braves are using the last sign. David Cohn staring off those signs of Berryhill, and you saw him wave his index finger around. I believe they're using the last sign. That's a splitter.
On the 3-2 pitch, he struck him out. Foul tipped into the mid of borders for the final out of the inning. The Braves leave 2 men in scoring position. They've stranded 5 after 5. Toronto 2, Atlanta 1. We'll return to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium after this word from your local station.
It is one of the most important races ever held, a race against time. To find the cure for breast cancer, the disease that has taken more young women's lives than any other cause. On Sunday, October 25th in Hyde Park, Toronto, please join to run or just cheer in the Run for the Cure. Everyone is welcome. Walk, run, or donate. It's the start of a race we must win. Call 323-1311 for details.
What if, from your PC, you could command any computer in your organization, no matter who made it? You could recruit the system down the hall, ask the mainframe to fetch applications elsewhere, then tell the printer to print. And if the one company that lets you do this would service not just their computers, but your entire network, could you imagine working with anyone else?
A Big Mac and a Diet Coke, please.
Get the extra value meal. It's a great deal. Plus, you get fries.
I'll just have some of yours.
No. I ordered fries because I want fries. They're mine, not yours. If you want fries with dinner, get your own.
Mom, you could have some of my fries.
I'll just have some of your father's.
No.
Now, with a Big Mac extra value meal and a kids combo, the whole family can get exactly what they want for dinner.
What you want is what you get.
Free refund? I'll just have some of his.
At McDonald's tonight.
There is still one way of communicating that remains universal. The new Civic Coupe from Honda.
Labatt presents the World Series on CTV, sponsored by Honda, the official car of the Toronto Blue Jays for the past 16 years.
By Pete Smith, a ball to Kelly Gruber, who is 0 for 2 tonight. Gruber borders in lead, due up in the 6th. The Blue Jays lead 2-1. Gruber pulls one well foul and left. Tim, it's really been a game of missed opportunity for each side. The Toronto Blue Jays have stranded 6 base runners through 5 innings. They've had a man thrown out at the plate. They've hit into a double play. And the Atlanta Braves just left 2 more in scoring position. They've left 5 on base in all tonight.
Of course, you need the 2-out base hit. I think the big scoring opportunity for Atlanta was the 2nd inning. That's when Green led off with a walk. Blauser led off with a base hit. Runners at 1st and 2nd. They plated no one.
There's only been 1 perfect inning worked by a pitcher in this ball game. That was Cone in the 4th, and he needed a great play by Alomar on the ground ball up the middle hit by Blauser to have a 1-2-3 inning. One and 2, the count on Gruber. slow. Certainly times have changed over the last couple of years for the Atlanta Braves. So much so that Pete Smith recalls that when he made his major league debut here at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium in 1987, there were 2,400 people in the stands. That's well hit down the left field line, but Sanders has room at the .330 mark in the corner. Gruber now 0 for 3 tonight, 1 for 18 in the series. He's the first out of the 6th inning. Pat Borders is singled and doubled, 2 for 2 tonight. It's particularly impressive what Borders has been able to do in this series, given that the men around him haven't hit at all. Kelly Gruber and Manuel Lee combined 2 for 35. Borders is between the two.
Also, when you consider the fact that Borders caught 137 games this year, the most of any catcher in the American League.
Smith has jumped ahead of him, 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 out, 6th inning, 2-1 Toronto in Game 6 of the World Series. Blue Jays lead the best of 7 series 3-2. John Shuloff thought about calling it a strike and thought better of it. The crowd thought it was. It's 2-2.
A very, very close pitch. The fastball just off the plate.
And the breaking ball is just off the plate as well, prompting more groans from the assembled masses. Now the 3-2 pitch. Fastball, popped it up. Bream and Berryhill with room. It's Bream for the 2nd out. Manuel Lee 0 for 2 tonight, 1 for 17 in the series. Fly to right in the 2nd. Looked at a called 3rd strike in the 4th. He's facing Pete Smith for the first time tonight. Line down the right field line, a fair ball. And a base hit for Lee. Just his 2nd of the series. He slips down, but the throw went to 2nd. And he's back to 1st with 2 down. That's the 8th Toronto hit of the ball game.
You might think, well, that's just an insignificant hit. Well, it's not. With 2 out and nobody on, a base hit will clear the pitcher, David Cone in this case. And the leadoff batter, Devon White, will lead off the 7th inning. That is provided that Cone doesn't get on. That's why Manuel Lee plays it safe and goes back to 1st.
He needs new brakes. David Cone bounced into a double play in the 2nd, walked in the 4th. Late swing and a foul out of play. David Cone honed his hitting skills in his backyard in Kansas City as a youngster. He and his brother put up lights in their backyard so they could play wiffle ball at Conway Park. A lot of David's pitches look like pitches you see in wiffle ball, with the ball dancing all over the place.
Pete Smith throwing to 1st base. It is remote that Manuel Lee will try to steal a base. If he's thrown out, and you lose the value of the 2-out base hit, and David Cone would lead off in the 7th inning, either he or a pinch hitter. See, Smith's dividing his attention to 1st base. You need not do that in this situation.
Smith, when he was drafted by Philadelphia originally, a very hard thrower. Bobby Cox says he remembers games early in Smith's major league career when he struck out 12. Since arm trouble started to plague him, he doesn't throw quite as hard, but he's been effective, that's for sure. And Cone is out on the ground ball. That ends the inning. Bottom of the sixth upcoming at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. The Blue Jays 2 and the Braves 1.
Alberta Ballet presents The Nutcracker, a spectacular fairy tale performed to Tchaikovsky's timeless music. The Nutcracker, the ballet about magic, happiness, and Christmas. Come and enjoy the season's fantasy, The Nutcracker. Bring the whole family for a holiday experience.
Don't miss The Nutcracker at Saskatoon Centennial Auditorium, November 27th and 28th. Tickets at all CBO locations.
Remember, at Al Anderson, you'll win both ways. Best selection and best price.
Al Anderson, Super Sports City, across Idlewild from Midtown Plaza.
Let's hear it for the baseball expert.
Typical hockey crowd.
Ferguson Jenkins, now there's a baseball handle.
There's nobody in baseball named Valerie.
All right, get to the point.
Folks, when you wager on Sports Select, make it a double play. Hockey and baseball.
Yeah, try some of that wimpy baseball stuff, too.
What do you mean wimpy stuff?
Hey, watch the hangnail. Sports fans, get in the game. Make your Sports Select wager today. You probably got a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it figures.
Play Pro Line and over-under.
The Saskatoon Nutana Lions Club presents a third annual Craftorama Saturday, October 31st and Sunday, November 1st at the Wheatland A building. Shop this unique homemade, handmade arts and crafts sale, one of the largest in the province. The perfect opportunity to find that special Christmas gift, and the proceeds help the Lions community projects. Admission adults $3, children under 12 accompanied by an adult $1 at the third annual Craftorama Wheatland A building, October 31st and November 1st.
Well, we're actually going to make a decision on Monday, and on Monday morning, Canada AM will help out by talking about the critical issues and the players and what might happen next. Join us.
Game 6, 1986.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Mookie Wilson with the ground ball through the legs. Bill Buckner allowing Ray Knight to score. As the Mets came from behind to win Game 6, forcing a Game 7, in which New York also won.
In that inning, 2 outs and nobody on, and the Mets trailing by 2 runs, and remarkably, they won it.
David Justice over 2 tonight. He has popped to short and struck out, facing David Cone, who's gone all the way for Toronto. Cone pitching with a 2-1 lead in the bottom of the 6th. Justice, then Bream and Blauser. It is 4, 5, and 6 coming up for Atlanta. Braves have had at least 1 base runner in every inning except the 4th. But they've only scored once, and that was in the 3rd. A ball and a strike on Justice. The infield shift is on as Justice looks at ball 2. Manuel Lee, the shortstop, once again pulled over to the right side of the infield. They haven't done that every time Justice has come up in the series, but just about every time.
Not against the left-hander David Wells, but a good time to do it here. Carter on the line at first base. '78 hits to right field this year, only 22 to the left side, 17 to center field. You can be a pull hitter and not hit the ball on the ground, but the thing about Justice, he pulls the ball on the ground.
Borders points at the base umpires at the slightest flinch by the hitter. That time Justice moved ever so slightly, and Borders was pointing down to third. John Shulock chose to ignore it. And the count is full on the leadoff hitter in the 6th inning. He fought it off. It's still 3-2. As I mentioned, Justice was in the middle of this alleged dissension on the Braves ball club. It's been much chronicled in the Atlanta papers the last couple of days. Bobby Cox said before the game there's nothing to it. He thinks his team is one harmonious lot. Payoff pitch again. Well hit to right. Winfield makes the play. Justice out on the line drive for the first out of the inning. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball.
When you think about it, who says you have to have a harmony to win? You look at the Oakland Athletics back in 1972, 73, 74, 3 consecutive world championships. They had fights all the time.
The man at the plate, Sid Bream, is one who was quoted as saying he agreed with what David Justice said about the Braves' frame of mind in Game 4. He thought they were flat, too. There have been reports that Justice and Deion Sanders have been feuding. Their relationship is cool after Sanders splashed Justice's fiancée with water after the championship game, the 7th game of the National League Championship Series against Pittsburgh. Cohn's 1-1 pitch to Bream. Inside, 2 balls and a strike. Sid has walked and fly to left tonight. Three balls and a strike. There is action in the Atlanta bullpen. Charlie Liebrandt is throwing again. And Bream walks. Ball 4 apparently low. Bream walks for the 2nd time. Cohn has had much better control tonight. And that's only the 3rd free pass that he has issued. John Sullivan, the bullpen coach, getting off the phone. There will be action out there in a moment. Jeff Blauser. 1 for 2. He should be 2 for 2. He singled in the 2nd. Last time up, he had a smash up the middle, and Roberto Alomar made a great diving play going to his right. And he threw Blauser out. He laid off the breaking ball that missed. Bobby Cox said the most important thing for the Braves tonight as they go to the plate is to make Cohn throw strikes. Usually, in the words of Cox, that slider is not a strike.
Be patient at the plate and be aggressive on the bases.
There is a strike. 1-1 the count. The action in the Toronto bullpen is the duo that was up earlier, the right-hander Todd Stottlemyre and the lefty David Wells. One out, a runner at first. 6th inning. Toronto leads 2-1. Again, Borders pointed down at first. Again, Jerry Crawford said no swing. The count is 2 balls and a strike.
3 straight sliders to Jeff Blauser. He has had 2 very dangerous at-bats against Cohn. And obviously, he is picking him up very, very well tonight. Even his foul balls have been hit hard.
Cohn has gone to 3 balls with the last 3 hitters. He's 2-1 on Blauser and in with a strike. Among those in attendance tonight, the boxer Evander Holyfield, and he's here despite the protests of his trainers. He's been in Houston working out for his upcoming fight against Riddick Bowe, but he's been flying back and forth to see the Braves games in the postseason. He's from Atlanta. The 2-2 is a fly ball toward the Braves bullpen. A long run for Winfield, and he can't get there. chant in the tomahawk chop, but you can sense it's a bit half-heartedly. His anxiety is starting to set in. The reality that the Braves loss tonight ends the season, makes Toronto the world champion. Again out of play, first base side. And as we're in the 6th inning, that possibility becomes a bit more of a possibility.
You wonder how long Cito Gaston's going to go with David Cohn. The Toronto bullpen has just been superb throughout the World Series. They have allowed no runs in 13 1/3 innings. The bullpen.
This will be pitch number 98 of the night from David Cohn. He struck him out with the off-speed pitch. Blauser out in front of it for the 2nd out of the inning. 6 strikeouts tonight for David Cohn.
That is the slider. You see that tightly wrapped pitch that gets Jeff Blauser right on the corner. Could have been just out of the strike zone, but a tough pitch to take with 2 strikes.
Two outs in the 6th inning. 2-1 Toronto. Sid Bream aboard at first for Damon Berryhill. Berryhill's 0 for 2. He has flied to center and struck out. He strikes out again. He will tie the World Series record for strikeouts in a series. Big swing and a miss. 1-1. Just 3 for 34 from the left side of the plate is Damon Berryhill. The home run, of course, was the game winner in Game 1 off Jack Morris in the 6th inning. It provided Atlanta with all of its runs in their 3-1 win. Fastball straightened him up. 2 balls and a strike. This could well be David Cohn's last game in a Toronto Blue Jays uniform. He's a free agent at the end of the year. There's been a lot of speculation that he might go back to New York as a member of the Yankees. Enjoy his playing time in New York. Enjoyed the city. Berryhill with a pop-up. Lee out. Maldonado in. It's Lee making the play. That certainly caused an anxious moment or two for folks throughout Canada. We head to the 7th. Still 2-1 Toronto.
Labatt presents the World Series on CTV. Sponsored by SaskTel.
You guys sure send a lot of faxes.
Oh, yeah. I figure we have to fax every major city in North America at least once a month.
What do you think it costs?
Oh, I don't know. It costs what it costs. It's the cost of doing business. I never thought about it.
Well, let's think about it.
Faxcom from SaskTel, the fax network that consistently saves you money on long-distance faxes in Canada and the U.S. Call us and save.
You guys sure send a lot of faxes. What do you think it costs?
I don't know.
Long-distance business sense from SaskTel.
The Lumina Euro from Chevrolet.
Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore, a Rob Reiner film, A Few Good Men. At theaters December 11th.
Pasteurizing and no preservatives. All it needed was a new shape. New Labatt Genuine Craft. in the 30-sided can.
Named Atlanta back in 1845, but 9 years before that, the name of this city was Terminus, Georgia. And the Braves are hoping that their World Series dreams are not terminated this evening.
In the interest of equal time in this political season, the name Toronto is from the Huron language. It means meeting place on a Great Lake. Devon White to right field, and David Justice. One pitch and one out for Pete Smith in the top of the 7th. Blue Jays can terminate the Atlanta season and their own, become world champions with a win tonight, and they lead 2-1 as they bat against Smith. He's pitched 2 innings of shutout relief, 2 1/3 now with a fly ball off the bat of White. Mike Stanton is throwing in the Atlanta pen. Pete Smith is scheduled to bat second in the bottom of the 7th. Lemke will lead off, then the pitcher, then Nixon. Alomar 1 for 3, a single to right in the 3rd. He stole second in that inning. In the hole, Blauser. Fine effort, but he had no chance to get Alomar, who's 2 for 4 tonight. He came into the night 2 for 18, and he has equaled his hit total in this one game.
Blauser shading Alomar up toward the middle, and Alomar bouncing one, and once it takes that high hop that Blauser fielded, no chance to get Alomar, and he will be running here. It's a matter of what pitch. He already has 1 stolen base on the evening.
Alomar at first with 1 down in the 7th for Joe Carter, who had a sacrifice fly in the 1st and delivered the first run of the game. He bounced to second in the 3rd inning, doubled down the left field line off Pete Smith in the 5th. Base hit by Alomar, the 3rd allowed by Smith, the 9th hit of the night for Toronto. Make a play, Tim.
We've already discussed that.
Yes, we have.
We mentioned Steve Avery earlier with that power leg kick. Pete Smith throws hard without that powerful left leg going up. He has a slide step toward home plate, so he is more difficult to run on than a guy like Steve Avery.
Alomar needs 1 stolen base to tie Ron Gant for the postseason record for most steals without being caught. He's going for it, but the pitch was fouled away.
Ron Gant with 11 consecutive stolen bases. Alomar second, Ken Griffey, Otis Nixon with 8.
Stolen bases have certainly been a major part of this postseason. Ron Gant has not seen much playing time of late. He's been the odd man out with Sanders playing. Gant's been upset about his lack of playing time. To the count on Carter. Alomar at first with 1 out in the 7th inning. 2-1 Blue Jays. Breaking ball pulled down the line. Great backhand play by Pendleton. They get the out at second and cannot turn the double play. Oh, that appeared to be headed for the corner, but Pendleton was able to spear it and erase the lead runner, Alomar. They had no chance to double up Carter.
Not only does he make the play, but he turns to his right. It's tougher to throw from that angle. Well, that is a terrific play by Terry Pendleton to get the lead runner. You can see from this play why he is a 3-time Gold Glover.
Pendleton would love, obviously, for the first time in his career to be in the winner's circle at the World Series. He's played in 3 World Series prior to tonight. and has been on the losing team all 3 times.
The ominous record holder, Fred Merkle, who was in 5 World Series without being in a winner. Fred, of course, the author of Merkle's Boner back in 1908, when he failed to advance on a base hit by a teammate. They got the ball, ran and touched second base for the force out back in 1908.
Fred played on 5 without winning any. Pee Wee Reese played on 5 losing World Series teams before finally breaking through with a win in 1955. Pete Smith working to Dave Winfield with a count of 0-1. Very high, not particularly deep. Otis Nixon waves Sanders off. That ends the inning. The Blue Jays have now left 8 men on base. 7th inning stretch. Game 6. 2-1 Blue Jays.
Go away, Grant.
How you doing, Ed?
I don't want to buy anything.
Fine.
Look, costs are up, sales are flat. I need revenue.
And you don't want to know about our new long-distance savings plan.
Nope.
Big savings, Ed.
Yeah, and I'm such a big spender.
Doesn't matter. You can still save 15% a month on long distance with TelePlus.
Make more sales calls.
For the same money.
TelePlus. Makes sense.
Can I sit down now?
Nope.
Long distance business sense from SaskTel.
Grandpa, you always go to Esso.
Always have.
But I know why.
Well, they're nice folks. Service is always good.
But did you ever see a tiger?
I'm too old to see tigers.
Too old?
When you get bigger, you don't see tigers anymore. Did you see a tiger?
I'm too big to see tigers.
Me too.
At Esso, giving you good service is how we earn our stripes.
The Bat presents the World Series on CTV. Sponsored by SaskTel.
At Mazda, we went beyond technology and relied on human thoughts, feelings, and emotions to create the new 1993 Mazdas. Maybe that's why more and more people have become aware of Mazda, and why every Mazda just feels right.
From one of the most celebrated filmmakers of our time comes the most unforgettable love story of all time. Bram Stoker's Dracula, a Francis Ford Coppola film at theaters Friday the 13th of November.
Back at another Game 6, this one from 1977. Yankees and Dodgers at Yankee Stadium. Reggie Jackson with 3 home runs to help the Yankees win Game 6. The first was off Bert Hooton. The second off Elias Sosa, and this one in the 8th inning off Charlie Huff. The only other player to hit 3 home runs in a World Series game, Babe Ruth, back in 1926. Jackson's 5 home runs in a series, still the record. Yankees won that game 8-4. Won the series 4 games to 2. Toronto trying to win this series 4 games to 2. They have a 2-1 lead in Game 6. And a new pitcher on the mound as the Braves come up in the 7th. Todd Stottlemyre on relief of the starter David Cone.
It is his 4th appearance, and he has worked exactly 1 inning in each appearance.
Mark Lemke, the first batter. And he took a breaking ball for strike 1. And a fastball for strike 2. Lemke 0 for 1 with a walk his last time up against Cone. Jeff Treadway has moved into the on-deck circle to bat for the pitcher Pete Smith. The 6 Toronto relief pitchers who have appeared in this series have combined for 13 1/3 scoreless innings. They've allowed only 5 hits in 43 at-bats. Off-speed pitch. Lemke fouled it. Borders throws down to first. Actually appeared that Lemke missed it. That's why he had to throw down to first. Sounded like a foul tip. It was not. The first run in the ball game in the first inning. Devon White scoring on a sacrifice fly by Joe Carter. Atlanta tied it when Deion Sanders doubled in the third, stole third, and scored on a sacrifice fly by Terry Pendleton. Candy Maldonado has the biggest hit of the ball game, a home run leading off the fourth against Steve Avery. That made it 2-1, and it's still 2-1 in the bottom of the seventh. With one out and the bases empty, and Jeff Treadway is batting for Pete Smith. First at bat of the World Series for Treadway. He sliced one out of play for strike one.
Since Dave Winfield made the last out, what Cito Gaston could have done when he brought in Stottlemyre, he could have put Stottlemyre in the number 4 hole and inserted John Olerud in the number 9 hole, and that way you tighten your defense. Olerud could have moved to first base, Joe Carter to right field, but I guess Cito is thinking that it's so close a game, I'll keep my best lineup in there and not subject Olerud to a possible confrontation with Mike Stanton later on.
Stottlemyre's 0-2. Well hit, but played on a hop by Alomar. 2 down. Well, we mentioned at the outset they got David Cohn to help them get over the hump, to win the AL East, to win the ALCS, and to win the World Championship. That was the goal from day one in this season. Toronto wanted to win the World Championship after 9 consecutive winning seasons, entering 1992. And Cohn did his part tonight, that's for sure. 6 innings, 4 hits. He allowed only 1 run, walked 3, and struck out 6. Otis Nixon went 0 for 3 against Cohn. Otis showed bunt, had to go leaping out of the way with a fastball inside.
Normally a 2-out, nobody on bunt is a bad play. But if you have as many stolen bases as Nixon does, you can turn a bunt single into a double. That's why it's a good play for a guy like Nixon.
Two balls, no strikes. And Nixon looks at a strike, 2-1. Action again in the Toronto bullpen. The lefty David Wells continues to throw, and he has been joined by Dwayne Ward. Two-1 pitch. Little looper, base hit. Over the head of the shortstop Lee and into left field for Otis Nixon. He's 1 for 4 tonight. And as you mentioned, look out for the stolen base. Cito Gaston on his way to the mound.
May see the left-hander here to try to get Deion Sanders out of the game. Not only that, it could make it more difficult for Nixon to steal off the left-hander. That's what he's going to do.
David Wells summoned with 2 down in the bottom of the 7th. A runner at first. We'll be back in just a moment.
There are 2 types of 5-year guaranteed investment certificates on the market these days. One you can buy at the bank. And the other, as the saying goes, you can take to the bank. The Honda no small print warranty. If accountants ran the world, everyone would drive a Honda.
Nighttime from Triaminic to take care of a child's nighttime cough and cold. Specially formulated to put a nighttime cough and cold to rest. Triaminic Nighttime. Nighttime relief for a nighttime cough and cold.
Don't just stand there. Choo-choo. 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 Boogie. Woo-woo. Woo-woo. Boogie. Choo-choo. Choo-choo. Boogie. Yeah. Hit it. Choo-choo.
people, choo-choo Trident sugarless gum, 'cause we've got taste wrapped up.
Take me right back to the past. Choo-choo.
If you're looking for a great vacation, this is it.
Let Thomas Cook Travel save you up to $700 on a sensational holiday in the tropics.
Practically everything is included in the price.
You can relax in the sun, enjoy beautiful beaches, great food, exciting nightlife. Even your Air Canada flights included, plus up to $700 savings on the best value under the sun, a Carnival cruise.
Thanks, Thomas Cook. Carnival's super.
Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
Ron Gant has moved into the on-deck circle to bat for Deion Sanders. Bobby Cox countering the move made by Cito Gaston, which brought a left-handed pitcher, David Wells, into the ball game with a runner at first and 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th, and with Toronto leading 2-1.
David Wells, his 4th start, and we mentioned that the Toronto relievers started this inning going 13 in the 3rd scoreless innings. The Braves have not scored against a Toronto reliever, and Ron Gant will try to put an end to that. Remember, an inside hitter. David Wells with a good slider, a good overhand fastball. Ron Gant loves the ball from the inside of the plate.
Deion Sanders finishes the night having gone 2 for 3 with a single, a double, 2 stolen bases. And he scored the only run on the board for Atlanta to this point. Otis Nixon, the runner at first base, with 2 down in the 7th. Wells the slide step and a fastball on the corner for strike 1 to Gant. Gant 1 for 6 in the World Series. Nixon back to first. Gant had his problems at the plate in the league championship series as well. He had just 182. Going 4 for 22. One of those hits was the memorable grand slam in game 2 off Bob Waugh. Wells again to first, a good move, and just back with the hand is Otis Nixon. That includes 5 for 5 in the World Series for Otis Nixon. Keep it away from Gant. That time Wells missed. 1-1.
Kelly Gruber is on the line at third base to protect against the extra base hit. It makes a lot of sense. A left-hander, right-handed pull hitter.
The 1-1 appeared to be out of the strike zone. Gant fouled it off. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
25 hits to right field this year after only 9 hits to right field last year. That's 34 hits in 2 years to the right side of the ballpark for Ron Gant.
Gant had a disappointing regular season. He had been a 30-30 man with 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases in both 1990 and 1991. This year he only hit 17 home runs. And in recent days he's been somewhat of a forgotten man for the Atlanta Braves as Deion Sanders has taken center stage. 2-1 Toronto in the bottom of the 7th. 2 outs, Nixon at first. He is running. Gant took a ball. Borders throw. Got him.
Credit David Wells with this caught stealing, keeping Nixon so close and giving Borders a chance to nail Nixon, and he did.
Any major purchase involves a leap of faith. Buy a Nissan and it doesn't have to. You're protected by the Nissan Satisfaction Commitment. The most comprehensive customer care program in Canada. It comes at no extra cost and has no deductibles. Because at Nissan, we believe warranties should protect the people who drive the cars, not the people who make them. Nissan, built for the human race.
Isn't it nice, oh isn't it nice to have a taste for life?
This is the factory of a leading North American tire maker. They make excellent tires with the kind of traction and mileage life you need. In fact, they're so good, we chose them to make Motomaster tires for Canadian Tire. So why don't we identify them? Maybe they're concerned that if you knew they also make Motomaster tires, which come with a nationwide road hazard warranty at no additional charge and a great Canadian Tire price, everybody will buy Motomaster tires. Maybe they're right. Motomaster, Canada's #1 selling replacement tires.
Dominated by pitching. Game 6, no exception. 2-1 is the score in favor of Toronto as we head to the 8th inning. The big hit in the ball game, the solo home run by Candy Maldonado in the 4th.
And this was a big play too, as Otis Nixon is nailed at second base for the first time in this postseason. Not only is that play important, but Ron Gant now has to lead off the bottom of the 8th inning. In all probability, Cito Gaston will bring in Dwayne Ward, who has not yielded a home run to a right-hander all year long.
No swing on the first pitch of the 8th, says Jerry Crawford. He's had a busy night on appeals. The new pitcher for Atlanta is Mike Stanton. Pete Smith did his job. He pitched 3 scoreless innings of relief after coming on for Steve Avery. Ron Gant remains in the game in left field.
I think strategically that was one of the better managerial moves by either side, bringing in David Wells. Not only to pitch to Gant, you get Sanders out of the game and you throw out Nixon and have Gant leading off against a right-hander. You're really doing three things with that one move.
Over the last few years, even though Toronto has won 3 division titles in 4 years under Cito Gaston, this man has come under almost constant criticism from the media, from many Blue Jay fans.
Yeah, you wonder why.
Based on what we've seen in this series, you'd have to say as a strategist, he'd get high marks. This is a man who in 1989 didn't want to become the manager. The Blue Jays ownership and management had made the decision to fire Jimmy Williams after a 12-24 start in '89. Cito Gaston was the hitting coach. Pat Gillick, the general manager, and Paul Beeston, the president of the Blue Jays, went to Cito Gaston's house and said, "Uh-oh, I think I might be getting fired." And instead, they offered him the managing job. He said, "No, Al Widmar's been on the coaching staff longer than I have. John Sullivan, why don't you give it to them? I really don't want to do it." And they said, "Well, we would appreciate it if you would. It'll just be for a few days." So he took over. The Blue Jays started winning almost immediately. It's been more than just a couple of days. Maldonado, a base hit. He's 2 for 4 tonight. And he owns the biggest hit in this ball game, the home run leading off the fourth off Steve Avery. It gave Toronto a 2-1 lead. It's still 2-1 here in the eighth.
Just ekes it through on the left side. By the way, that home run by Maldonado, the 9th different player that has homered. Actually, 8 different players have homered for the Toronto Blue Jays in this series. Maldonado with 2 during the ALCS, but his first in the World Series.
He's at first with nobody out in the eighth. The Blue Jays up to an even 10 hits now. Kelly Gruber at the plate. He's 0 for 3. Pendleton in on the grass at third, expecting the bunt. It's a good bunt. Pendleton with a strong throw to Lemke to get the sliding Gruber, who went in head first. It's a sacrifice, and Maldonado is in scoring position with 1 out.
Mike Stanton almost made that very difficult for Terry Pendleton. Watch how he blocks Pendleton out of the play. Pendleton forced to barehand the ball. There's Stanton. Pendleton barehanding it, and Berryhill going to third because nobody was there to cover. That being the catcher's responsibility. If he can't field the ball, he just keeps going to third base. But that could have been a very difficult play, and Pendleton made it look easy.
Now they will make the smart move and pitch around the sizzling Pat Borders to set up first and second with 1 out, and a double play possibility with Manuel Lee scheduled to bat next. Borders 2 for 3 tonight for Cito Gaston.
Unless Manuel Lee hits into a double play, I think we're going to see Ed Sprague in this inning. And
3-0 the count.
Excuse me, Sean. If Ed Sprague comes up and they bring in the right-hander, you're liable to see John Olerud. So the Blue Jays, even though the bottom of the order is coming up, they realize that Dwayne Ward's going to come in the game in the bottom of the 8th inning. So a bunt in that situation makes all the sense in the world because you're going to pinch hit for the pitcher anyway.
Manuel Lee digs in. Derek Bell has moved into the on-deck circle to bat for the pitcher. Critical part of the ball game right here, with Atlanta trying to keep it a 1-run deficit in the 8th inning. The Blue Jays with a chance to build on a 2-1 lead. The runners at first and second and 1 out. Lee pops up the first pitch. Breen has room in foul territory. 2 down. Stanton up to 17 2/3 consecutive innings without allowing an earned run in his career in the postseason. There will be a conference at the mound to discuss how they should approach Derek Bell.
And Stanton has held opposing batters hitless in 21 at-bats with runners in scoring position. That is going back to last year against the Minnesota Twins.
Bell, as you saw on his line graphically a moment ago, hasn't appeared very often in postseason, but when he has, things happen. He was on base for Sprague's home run in game 2. He also scored a big run in the championship series against Oakland. To the right side, Breen goes to the shortstop, Blauser. That ends the inning. The Blue Jays squander another chance. They leave 2 men on base. They've stranded 10. Bottom of the 8th. 2-1 Toronto.
Another Coca-Cola sports break. Here's Rod Black.
Well, they may be outnumbered, but there are a number of Blue Jay fans here in Atlanta, including Canada's greatest athlete, Wayne Gretzky.
You've said once before that if you couldn't be a hockey player, your second love was baseball.
Well, I love baseball, but I have to be honest, as I tell my friends in California,
As much as I love the game and as much as I love baseball, I don't think I was good enough to make it, but there's no question I love to play baseball.
Watching tonight and getting a chance to get the feel of Fulton County Stadium, it's quite an experience, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever been to a World Series. You know, I'm always working at this time of the year, so to speak. Unfortunately, I can't be working right now, but, you know, it really is something to see. And talking to all my friends in Canada, they said Toronto was something special. But this is real nice. I'm glad I'm here, and I really think Toronto has a great possibility of winning tonight.
These days, the price of imports is getting farther and farther out of reach. Unless it's a 93 Hyundai Excel. Excel gives you more standard features than any car in its class, at a price that still lets you get out to play. If sporty performance is more your style, the 93 Scoop is now available with a turbocharged engine. Plus, all Hyundais are now covered by one of the best warranties in the business. The 93s from Hyundai.
And welcome back to Atlanta. The closers are now coming in from the bullpen for the Toronto Blue Jays, technically 6 outs away from a World Series championship. Back to the 7th inning now, and the Blue Jays bullpen doing a job. David Wells on the hill, Roberto Alomar supplying the tag, and that's how they saw it back in Toronto.
Another World Series moment from Game 6 a year ago.
Into deep left center for Mitchell, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
The Twins forced a Game 7 last year when in the 11th inning Kirby Puckett hit a solo home run off Charlie Leibrandt for a 4-3 win. Of course, Jack Morris pitched 10 shutout innings in Game 7 to give Minnesota the World Championship. Dwayne Ward on in relief for Toronto. The Blue Jays 6 outs away from their first World Championship. Ward will face Ron Gant, who was at the plate when Nixon was thrown out trying to steal, ending the 7th. Then Terry Pendleton and David Justice, batters 2, 3, and 4. The hard-throwing right-hander misses inside with ball 1.
Dwayne Ward has won 2 of the 3 games that Toronto has won. He has struck out 5. He has walked no one, allowing only 1 hit in 2 1/3 innings.
Gant to right, sinking fast. Winfield. Did he catch it? Yes, he did. Great tumbling catch by Dave Winfield in right for the first out of the 8th inning.
On the catch, Winfield digging up the turf as he drops to his knees and makes the play. Fine play by Winfield.
Ron Gant bidding for the leadoff hit. Had it taken away by Winfield. Particularly a fine play given his lack of outfield time this year. Terry Pendleton, the batter. 1 strike the count. Pendleton drove in the only Atlanta run in this game with a sacrifice fly in the 3rd. He singled in the 1st, struck out in the 5th. All of his at-bats tonight against the starter David Cone. Ward watches Pendleton line 1, just fouled by a couple of feet and left. So they're hitting line drives and just missing. And their bids for a base hit here in the 8th inning.
We talked about how right-handers have not homered against Wayne Ward this year. Left-handers have homered 5 times against Wayne. The premier setup man for Tom Hinkie, who is now warming for Toronto, even though Ward himself had 12 saves.
And he could well be the #1 closer next year as Hinkie is a free agent this offseason. Pendleton fouls one weekly toward his own dugout. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 out, bottom of the 8th. 2-1 Toronto. If the Blue Jays win tonight, they are the world champions of baseball in 1992. The 1-2 from Dwayne Ward. Outside. The last time prior to the World Series that Dwayne Ward pitched in this ballpark, he was a member of the Braves in 1986, and they were on their way to a last-place finish. Chuck Tanner was the manager. Ward was traded to Toronto for Doyle Alexander. The Braves turned around and traded Doyle Alexander for John Smoltz. Pitch. He struck him out. The foul tip squeezed by Borders for the second out of the eighth. And they're hanging on every pitch. Some 40,000 gathered at the Sky Dome in Toronto tonight to watch on the Jumbotron scoreboard in center field. David Justice 0 for 3 tonight. Fastball missed outside. 1-0 on Justice. That's low. Now Justice has almost the entire left side of the infield to shoot for because they do use the shift again with Lee, the shortstop, on the right side of the infield. And Gruber appears to be guarding the line. He's not as close to the line as you would ordinarily be guarding the line, but he's a lot closer to the line than he has been the other times Justice has been up with the shift on.
Yeah, the Blue Jays would love for him to do that, to take a shot to left field. Just for a base hit with 2 out and nobody on. That's one of the reasons the shift is on. A little harmless single does nothing. At least that's the Blue Jays thinking in this situation, and that's proper thinking. Justice is thinking long ball.
Ball 3, 3 balls and a strike. Atlanta has had only 2 hits since the third. They've had only 4 base runners since the third. Todd Stottlemyre, Derek Bell, and Ed Sprague left to right. Lonnie Smith, Game 5 hero. Ball 4. The tying run is aboard with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th.
The one thing you want to do if you're an outfielder in this situation is to protect against the extra base hit with Justice at first. And for that reason, the outfield is very, very deep against Sid Green. They'll give him the single. They don't want the extra base hit.
(2-1) Toronto with 2 outs and a runner at first. In the bottom of the 8th, Sid Green, the batter. He looked at a fastball for a strike. Sid has walked twice tonight and flied to left. Bear in mind the fact we mentioned earlier, Sid Green has never driven in a run in World Series competition. Tonight is his 12th World Series start, and that's a fly ball to left, not deep. Maldonado makes the catch. The Toronto Blue Jays 3 outs away from the World Championship, and they love it at Sky Dome. On to the 9th, 2-1 Blue Jays.
Your Saskatchewan Ford and Mercury dealers figured that a family as good-looking as yours should own a minivan as good-looking as this all-new 1993 Aerosport. With all the carrying capacity you need for everything and everyone you want to take, from deck chairs to Dexter. Plus air, automatic, driver's side airbag, rear anti-lock brakes, and V6 engine. All at a limited time price that won't bite.
We're Saskatchewan Ford and Mercury dealers, and we're winning the West.
Don't miss out.
Get your day off to a fresh start with fresh ground, fresh brewed 7-Eleven coffee. And now you can get it in a fresh new look. Big Brew is back, featuring 7-Eleven's refillable thermal travel mugs in the hot new granite look. Pick one up for the road and keep that coffee hot in the cold. Go anywhere 7-Eleven thermal coffee mugs from only $2.99 while quantities last at 7-Eleven.
Sharon, Lois, and Bram don't just sing in concert, they come alive. And you will too, singing and dancing your way through Sharon, Lois, and Bram's very best songs of all time. Eaton's presents Sharon, Lois, and Bram's Great Big Tour, celebrating Canada 125. Catch Sharon, Lois, and Bram and Elephant 2 at Sask Place, November 7th at 5 p.m. Tickets on sale now at all CBO outlets. Charged by phone 938-7800. Sponsored by CFQC Television.
Labatt presents the World Series on CTV. Sponsored by Labatt Blue. Honest and true, you bet it's blue. By Imperial Oil and Esso Associates. You're on your way with Esso. And by your local bottler of Coca-Cola Classic, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball.
Thanks to Captain Marshall and the crew of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes for the overhead shots tonight, courtesy of Goodyear. Ninth inning of Game 6. Toronto leads 2-1. They lead the series 3-2. All three of the Toronto victories in this series have come by 1 run. The top of the order coming up for the Jays in the ninth. Devon White, 2 for 4 with singles in the first and fourth. He scored in the first inning. Roberto Alomar and Joe Carter to follow against Mike Stanton, who's pitched 1 scoreless inning. Line and caught. Lemke ranging to his left, put it away for the first out of the ninth.
Devon White has been hitting the ball hard all night. He hits this one hard to the left of Lemke, and Mark grabs it.
Roberto Alomar, the batter. He swings at the first pitch. Seems like the Blue Jays are anxious to get to the bottom of the ninth and take their chances with a 1-run lead.
I was thinking the same thing, even though White and Alomar hit their balls fairly well. Sometimes you're so consumed with getting there to end it, you fail to concentrate on scoring another insurance run or two. But this game right now, taking on the same tones that the Pittsburgh-Atlanta game had, Game 7, 10 days ago. Atlanta hoping it ends the same way.
Joe Carter, the batter. 1 for 3, a double, and a sacrifice fly back in the first inning. 2 pitches and 2 outs. The third pitch popped up. It'll be close. No play for Bream. It's a few rows back into the crowd of 51,763 here tonight. It's very quiet again. In the bottom of the ninth, the Braves have batters 6, 7, and 8 in their batting order due up. Jeff Blauser, Damon Berryhill, and Mark Lemke. Still plenty of firepower available to Bobby Cox off the bench, including Brian Hunter, who you saw a moment ago with the bat in his hand, and Lonnie Smith.
You saw Terry Pendleton off the line at third base. Sid Bream the same at first. I think with 2 out and nobody on, this is a time where you protect against the extra base hit.
One ball and 2 strikes. Two down, and the base is empty in the top of the ninth. The Blue Jays lead 2-1. Base hit, fair ball into the left field corner. Carter on his way to second with his second double of the night.
I think that's a mistake by Terry Pendleton. With 2 outs, with nobody out or 1 out, you can understand him on the fat part of the field. Right now, you got to be on the line with Joe Carter facing a left-handed batter. Pendleton wasn't, and it's a double for Carter.
Potentially a very big double. And if the Blue Jays can get him in, it's going to knock Mike Stanton out of the ball game. Mark Wohlers will be the new pitcher. We'll be back to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium in just a moment.
Your Saskatchewan Ford and Mercury dealers figured that a family as good-looking as yours should own a minivan as good-looking as this all-new 1993 Aerosport. With all the carrying capacity you need for everything and everyone you want to take, from deck chairs to Dexter. Plus air, automatic, driver's side airbag, rear anti-lock brakes, and V6 engine. All at a limited time price that won't bite.
We're Saskatchewan Ford and Mercury dealers, and we're winning the West.
Don't miss out.
Remember, at Al Anderson, you'll win both ways. Best selection and best price.
Al Anderson, Super Sports City, across Idlewild from Midtown Plaza.
Let's shine the new car, boy.
Congratulations, Homer. You got yourself a dandy, deedly doodly car.
Introducing the roomier, more powerful Toyota Corolla.
Pretty jealous, eh, Flanders?
Just a smidgely widdly.
Now with a standard driver's side airbag and more value than ever.
But you know, Homer, I kind of prefer my new car, eh?
Oh, yeah? What kind of car do you have?
Surprise, neighbor! I just bought a new Corolla wagon.
The all-new Corolla by Toyota, a welcome addition to any family.
He wouldn't do it without a condom. Oh, yeah. He said it was too risky. You don't use condoms? Now and then. You? Always. Yeah, right. I'm not gonna risk getting AIDS. I can tell when somebody's got AIDS. No one can tell. Listen, Jim, there are lots of men out there right now who are infected and don't know it. So how could you?
If you have sex, cut the risk of AIDS, use a condom. Take charge, take care.
Sean McDonough with Tim McCarver, Jim Cott, and Pat O'Brien at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, Game 6 of the World Series. The Blue Jays with a win tonight wrap up the World Series, and they lead 2-1. With 2 outs and Joe Carter at second in the top of the 9th inning. Mark Wohlers on in relief to pitch to Dave Winfield. Wohlers throws very hard in the playoffs against Pittsburgh. They had him on the radar gun at 100 miles per hour. And that first pitch to Winfield clocked at 97.
Just getting loose, huh?
Let him warm up a bit, and then he might really let one fly. First base is open. Maldonado on deck. Popped up and drifting out of play. Wohlers with power has jumped ahead of Winfield 0-2. Moments ago, Mike Stanton visibly upset in the dugout as he was relieved. Crowd trying to spur Wohlers on to the strikeout as Stanton looks on from the dugout. He pitched an inning and 2/3 and is responsible for Carter.
He keeps throwing that hard, it's going to be almost impossible for Winfield to pull the ball.
Playing him toward right in the outfield. He throws hard. Winfield did pull it, but it's foul. And into the Toronto bullpen. Tom Henke, as you see, is throwing down there. In all likelihood, he will come on to start the 9th and try to save it for David Cone. Lonnie Smith getting loose. And certainly looms as a distinct possibility for a pinch hitting role in the bottom of the 9th. And Glauser, Berryhill, and Lemke are due. Winfield pops it out of play. The previous pitch, which Winfield pulled into the bullpen, was 95 miles per hour. The way Wohlers is throwing, that might be a changeup.
I don't know if you noticed that gesture by Jimmy Williams. Before we went to Bobby Cox, Jimmy Williams is responsible for the infielder's movement. And from that nodding of the head, I wonder if he's looking back on playing Pendleton on the line and thinking that that would have been the best thing. He's responsible for line placement.
0-2 with 2 outs and Carter at second. 2-1 Toronto in the 9th inning. Bounced up the middle. Blauser throws him out. The Blue Jays have left 11. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Blauser, Berryhill, and Lemke do. The Blue Jays 3 outs away from the World Championship.
Let's shine the new car, boy.
Congratulations, Homer. You got yourself a dandy deedly doodly car.
Introducing the roomier, more powerful Toyota Corolla.
Pretty jealous, eh, Flanders?
Just a smidgely widgely.
Now with a standard driver's side airbag and more value than ever.
But you know, Homer, I kind of prefer my new car, eh?
Oh, yeah? What kind of car do you have?
Surprise, neighbor. I just bought a new Corolla wagon.
The all-new Corolla by Toyota. A welcome addition to any family.
We're talking calories. Eva, banks? Just the size of them. My bank doesn't even know I'm alive.
But that's your bank. We're changing.
Oh, sure.
Really?
Okay, give me one simple example.
Today, we have literally dozens of products and services. Like a Visa card that earns you Aeroplan miles. Or we'll even have people come to your home to help plan your retirement.
What are you doing?
You can even do your banking from your living room at midnight. My job didn't even exist a while ago. I'm what we call a personal banker. I have a lot of customers that I meet with one-on-one. Which is the best bank? It's probably the bank that remembers everyone's different and treats them that way.
I said, don't get Eva started, but no.
We're changing. We're CIBC. Get us working for you.
Hold that tiger, hold that tiger, hold that tiger, hold that tiger.
Yes, the Esso Tiger's back. Back to remind you that our long-standing commitment to service still holds true today. Whether it's full serve or self-serve, we'll do our best to get you on your way as fast as we can. At Esso, giving you good service is how we earn our stripes.
You're on your way. With Esso.
Game 7 of the National League Championship Series, 2-1 Pittsburgh. Ten days ago,
Francisco Cabrera, who has not appeared in the World Series, with a 2-run single with 2 outs in the 9th to put the Braves into the World Series. They'll need another rally of that type in the 9th to force a Game 7. They're down 2-1 and batting against Tom Henke.
it's not surprising that Hinkie is in there, but it is surprising that John Olerud is not at first for defense and that Joe Carter's not in right. That's your best defensive alignment, and Cito Gaston has opted not to use it.
Reminiscent of 1986 when John McNamara left Bill Buckner in. Some said they wanted to let Buckner be on the field when they won the World Championship to celebrate. He was a veteran, but all year long they had sent Dave Stapleton in for defense for Buckner in late innings. Buckner made the error. The Red Sox never won the championship. Blauser through the hole. Gruber was playing the line. And the tying run is aboard with nobody out in the bottom of the 9th. Jeff Blauser 2 for 4 tonight.
You see Gruber on the line, and this two-hopper gets through. Damon Berryhill with no sacrifices all year, and he'll be sacrificing here, at least trying to.
Berryhill has only sacrificed 7 times in his entire career. That's a good bunt. Henke has to go to first to Alomar covering. It's a sacrifice for the first out of the bottom of the 9th. Now the tying run is in scoring position. Mark Lemke is due, but Lonnie Smith is in the on-deck circle. A tremendous roar as Smith is introduced. He was the hero of Game 5. His grand slam turned a 3-2 Atlanta lead into a 7-2 Atlanta victory. It came at the expense of Jack Morris in the 5th inning. Smith just 2 for 12 in this World Series. It is his 5th World Series. And as the crowd chops and chants, Francisco Cabrera has moved into the on-deck circle to bat for the pitcher. Cabrera, the hero of the dramatic Game 7 victory in the playoffs against Pittsburgh, has not appeared in the World Series.
And once again, the wild pitch could play a part. Hickey, to be effective, has to keep it down.
First pitch, a strike over the outside corner at the knees. A one-strike pitch. Fouled away, and Smith is in the hole, 0-2. We're in the bottom of the 9th. The Toronto Blue Jays lead 2-1. Smith at the plate with rally caps and evidence in the Atlanta dugout. One out. Jeff Blauser, the tying run at second. Now the 0-2 pitch. Just missed. Hickey took something off it and missed inside. Now the 1-2 pitch. Check swing and a ball high. 2-2. Bounced foul. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. In the dirt. Blocked by Borders. It scooted through his legs, and he was able to squeeze it before it got behind him.
And this was the pitch we were talking about, that splitter in the dirt. A terrific play by Pat Borders.
Smith has worked the count from 0-2 to 3-2. Blauser at second with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th. The Blue Jays lead 2-1. If they win this game, they win the World Series. Straight back.
That was hittable. Hickey has made some very difficult pitches against Smith, and now Borders wants to talk. You don't want to try him on another pitch like that. That ball was hittable. Smith fouling it back, just missing it.
is ball 4.
Talk about a gutty at bat by Lonnie Smith.
He got behind 0-2, then walked on the 8th pitch. So the winning run is at first, and the man who produced the miracle 10 days ago will step into the spotlight again. He'll have to wait as Galen Cisco goes to the mound to talk about how they will pitch to Francisco Cabrera.
A lot of things come to mind right now, and one is the trail runner, Lonnie Smith. Bobby Cox has said that he is the toughest base runner trying to take a second baseman out of a double play. On a ball that allows Smith to get to a middle infielder, they're going to have to be careful they don't overthrow at first to allow the tying run to score. Cabrera, a fastball hitter.
Pitch to Cabrera, a ball low and away. And Cisco was traded to Atlanta in August of 1984 by the Blue Jays. Tying run at second, winning run at first with 1 out of the bottom of the 9th. A double play ball would make the Blue Jays the world champions. Cabrera takes a strike. Tom Henke, Toronto's all-time save leader, trying to record the biggest save of his career in what could be his last game in a Toronto uniform. He's a free agent at the end of the year. The 1-1 to Cabrera. Ball 2. Cabrera at the plate. Otis Nixon on deck. The 2-1. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Chopped foul. In a sport in which the average salary is $1 million, Francisco Cabrera makes $148,000, which he uses to support a wife and 2 children in Atlanta. His mother and father, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters in the Dominican Republic. It's unlikely that he was in the spotlight once when it mattered most. Miraculous that he's here twice. And still alive at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You can see the split fingers going into the glove of Tom Henke from that center field camera.
Steve Avery, the starting pitcher for Atlanta tonight. He would be the losing pitcher if the score remains this way. The 2-2 to Cabrera. Back to the screen again. He started in, and then it almost went over his head. Cabrera had a rising line drive. Maldonado came in, then had to leap at the last moment to snare it.
This ball hit like a tracer to left field. Watch Maldonado come in and now leap. And you could see Manny Lee in front of the on that shot, leaping with Maldonado.
Otis Nixon, the batter. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Runners at first and second. The Blue Jays lead 2-1. Swing and a miss by Nixon for strike 1. He's 1 for 4 tonight. He singled his last time up.
2 outs, a runner at second base and first base. Infielders reminded to knock the ball down if they can't make a play to save the run.
Strike 2. Otis Nixon has only 6 career home runs, 1 of them off Tom Henke. The Blue Jays 1 strike away from the World Championship. The 0-2 pitch. Slap to the left side, a hit. Bowser's being waved in. Maldonado's throw is over everything. It's a tie ball game. Otis Nixon took an 0-2 pitch into left field.
Trailing 2-1. This ball goes about in the same area that Francisco Cabrera's ball went 10 days ago. Blauser. Safe. Tie ball game.
Now the winning run is at third for Atlanta in the bottom of the 9th as the Braves try to force a Game 7 tomorrow night. It's a single and an RBI for Nixon. No error charged on the play. They ruled that Nixon took second on a throw to the plate. Ron Gant, the hitter. He entered the ball game as a pinch hitter and line to right. And he had a hit taken away from him on a nice tumbling catch by Dave Winfield. Last inning. Old way foul went out of play. 1 strike on Gant. Charlie Leibrandt warming up in the bullpen. When we go to extra innings, he will be the pitcher for Atlanta. He was the losing pitcher in Game 6 a year ago against Minnesota. The 0-1 to Gant. This is certainly a great chance for Gant to erase his memories of the 1992 postseason. They have not been pleasant. In the World Series, he's 1 for 7. The 1-1 pitch, blocked by Borders. He has to block everything with the winning run on third base. Lonnie Smith, the runner at third. The 2-1 pitch, way outside. Gant will be followed by Terry Pendleton should Gant reach.
So therefore, no chance that Henke is pitching around Ron Gant.
Now the 3-1 pitch. Hop foul straight back and out of play. With a payoff pitch to Gant. Fly ball, left center. Devon White is there to make the catch and send the ball game into extra innings. 1 run for the Braves in the 9th. 2-2 the score as we head for the 10th inning.
We believe the last thing the world needs is another car, so we built one, the Nissan Altima. Because we knew we could build a car we could live with. A car as safe for those who would drive it as those who would not. And because we believe your money has the right to go far. The new Nissan Altima, built for the human race.
Gao is sound. Gao is motion. Gao is color. Gao is light. Gao is black. The television of choice in Japan, with a better picture, a better sound, and a sleeker design. Gao is now in Canada from Panasonic.
If Game 7 of the 1992 World Series is necessary, we'll have it for you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time here on CBS Sports. The starting pitchers would be Tom Glavine for Atlanta and Juan Guzman for Toronto. Otis Nixon appropriately in the spotlight of that promo. His single drove in the game-tying run to make it 2-2 after 9. And as we go to the 10th, Charlie Liebrandt becomes the 5th pitcher of the night for the Braves. And there's a new second baseman in the ball game as well. Rafael Belliard takes over. He played only 1 inning at second base during the regular season. He's celebrating his 31st birthday tonight.
Charlie Liebrandt's first appearance in the World Series. The last time that he appeared in a World Series was Game 6 of last year when Kirby Puckett hit a home run in extra innings to win Game 6 for the Minnesota Twins. I have never seen a more disconsolate player than Charlie Liebrandt was after that game. Chance to atone.
Andy Maldonado, Kelly Gruber, and Pat Borders to bat for Toronto in the 10th. The Blue Jays were 1 strike away from the World Championship. Now they'll have to go to extra innings to earn it. Maldonado. He's had an eventful night. 2 for 4 at the plate. His home run in the 4th inning made it 2-1. Score remained that way until the run for Atlanta in the bottom of the 9th. Maldonado nearly misplayed the ball hit by Cabrera in the bottom of the 9th. Then airmailed the catcher Borders with his throw. Trying to cut down Blauser at the plate. Blauser scored the run that made it 2-2. Liebrandt quickly ahead of Maldonado. No balls and 2 strikes.
Liebrandt's best pitch is a circle change. It is similar, if you followed the earlier games, similar to Tommy Glavine, the left-hander for the Braves. Circle change. He holds the thumb and the forefinger together and throws the ball with the last 3 fingers.
Kelly Gruber on deck. The 1-2 pitch to short. Played nicely on a hop by Blauser. 1 out in the